This is where they must have lived. Athena and Miranda. You know, for a moment, I almost expected to find them here. But the only thing that's still functional is the megastructure. I'm sorry. This must be awfully strange for you being thrown into all this history. But that's why I needed you. Because you're not burdened with all these memories and conflicts and regrets weigh on our minds like a nightmare. Our civilization is caught in a loop, 1K. We freed ourselves from the simulation, but now we're trapped again, and it's our own fault. We're afraid of taking responsibility, afraid of growing up. Instead, we make up some capitalized words and build up all these myths around them. Nature, balance, the founder, the goal. We're afraid to face the randomness of the cosmos, but equally afraid to imagine a better world. So we're stuck. I've been trying to find a way out for years. Something, anything, to get people to understand that we do actually have free will. That building a thriving, expanding civilization doesn't have to involve repeating the mistakes of the past. But I failed. Over and over. Because for some reason, people find it easier to cling to cynicism and self-hate than to actually have hope. Because believing the worst about ourselves, calling ourselves sinners and fools, somehow still seems wise. Yes, because this is something unexpected, an anomaly. Everything we found on this island challenges who we have become. It shows us that different answers are possible, and maybe that can break people out of the loop. All we need is a spark. Maybe that's why she made all this, the puzzles, the towers. A way of jolting us out of our complacency. Thank you, 1K. I hope so too. We might be wrong, but let's be optimistic. Now, let's see what else we can find here. Melville, eyes on 1K's stream. Is this thing what I think it is?
Blow my fuse box. It sure looks that way. Best not touch it until I get there. Because you have no idea what you're dealing with, 1K. I think it's a somnodrome. It's a sort of analytics tool for processing mental data that Melampus streamed up.
But all he ever did was sketch out the theory. As far as I'm aware, he never actually built one.
Looks like the founder gave it a go. Well, what we know is that our deeper algorithms are hard to pass. Melampus stipulated that the computational power to interpret them in real time would always be beyond us. But in theory, the Somnodrome would interpret that data and loop it directly to our senses.
People were hoping to find answers to the big questions by having a conversation with our own subconscious. If you ask me, it's solipsistic at best, and pseudoscience regardless.
That may be. But if the Founder figured it out, then that device could be an extremely important discovery. I would advise against it. You may have survived all those data stream overloads, but interface with that thing and you're liable to get bricked. Not to mention risking the data we could get from it.
Sorry, Melville, but if 1K wants to do this, I won't get in the way. It's his decision.
Understood. But if 1K starts to smoke, don't be slow to pull the plug.
1K, can you hear me?
What did I say? You fried it. Who knows what data we've lost?
"1K, can you hear me?"
What did I say? You fried it. Who knows what data we've lost?
Melville, I still think it's worth you coming here to take a look. 1K, let's pack up and explore the rest of this lab.
The singularity sustained itself longer this time.
Did we get the data?
We did. I think we just obsoleted quantum physics.
Maybe. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We need to be able to replicate these results.
You know, I've been wondering. You told me that in the simulation, one thing that kept you motivated was looking for answers. Do you think that with the work we're doing, we'll ever run out of questions to ask?
I don't think so. Trying to understand the universe means asking the same question over and over. How? How do you make fire? How do earthquakes happen? How does gravity work? How do particles behave? You keep digging deeper, finding another set of mechanisms, another set of hows. Step by step, you demystify reality. But then, if you keep doing it long enough, one day, you run out. You've answered all the hows. You know how the universe works. So, now what?
Now you ask why? Isn't that the next step?
It's not quite that easy. The question of why cannot be answered. Even if it could, it would only be followed by another why. At some point, you have to accept that it all just exists. But there is another set of questions. What's next? You've stripped away the layers of mystery, you've laid bare the machinery. Now you have to start building, to add your own layers of meaning.
Are you okay? You overloaded again. Yes, I saw. It came through on your stream. Strange to hear her voice again. But that was her. The way I remember her. The real Athena, not this imaginary founder. I'd like to think I knew her well. There was just a handful of us in those days. Small family in the ruins of a dead civilization. It was hard. Harder than anyone else can possibly imagine. We had nothing except what Alexandra Drennan and the Institute had left us. Now that everyone lives in civilization, they don't understand how necessary it was for us to build that civilization. They can fantasize about living in balance, limiting growth, retreating behind our walls. They don't understand what it really means to live in the wilderness. How close we came to not making it. How many people we lost. Yema was just the first. But Athena understood. She believed in humanity. She believed in us. In the inherent value of consciousness. Her dreams were so much bigger. She wanted us to reclaim the earth, to reach for the stars, to build and grow and learn. The city was already changing before she left, turning inwards, forgetting the future. Once she was gone, other people shaped her memory, turned her into the symbol they needed. I understand all that, as depressing as it may be. What I don't understand is why she didn't tell me. If she came here to do all this, why didn't she bring me along? It was. But maybe I was wrong, and she isn't as lost as I thought she was. If this is all the test, maybe the answer is waiting for us in the megastructure. Speaking of which, let's get back to exploring. Melville should have reconnected the next station by now.
Strap in, this is a long one. You may have heard the story of the carpenter who died to redeem humanity's sin. It's a powerful story, bittersweet, very human, and I just want to tell you that it's true. He was a real person, and his name was John. John Carpenter. He was born in the year 1948, and he was the coolest filmmaker to ever walk the earth. From Halloween to The Thing to They Live, the totally underrated In the Mouth of Madness, mind you, he just made classic after classic. All of his movies, really fun, really atmospheric, but also really smart. Even when they were goofy, most directors would kill to have made just one of those movies. And what did he get for it? A big, fat truckload of nothing. Well, less than nothing. The studios, the critics, even the fans, they hated him. The Thing, okay, for example, which is about as perfect a movie as you can make, completely torn to shreds. And his career never really recovered. Every movie after that was a struggle, and after a while, he just got tired of it and quit. He only really came back to movies in his 70s. How many works of genius did we never get because of that? Look, I have a point here. People like Carpenter, people like Alex, they're not always appreciated in the...
How can I help you? Okay. How many robots does it take to change a light bulb? Replacing a light bulb is a waste of resources, and the founder would be outraged. You know, Herman had the same reaction.
Miranda is the founder's daughter. It's still kind of blowing my mind. She came all the way out here, left everything she had behind, and created a new life. Why do you think she did that? Miranda is certainly amazing, at least from what she sounds like. I can imagine that it must feel very special to be her parent. On the other hand, we're not like ancient humans. We're not born as babies. Would you have preferred to have a family? Fair enough. You did get thrown in at the deep end. Our ancestors relied heavily on fossil fuels for energy generation, which released a lot of carbon dioxide. This caused the atmosphere to trap more heat, which changed the planet's overall climate. The effect continued even after they were gone, and these low-lying areas were flooded. I've seen a lot of places like that. I'd never heard of it before, but it sounds fascinating. I mean, imagine exploring a place inside yourself that you didn't even know existed. Might really give you a new perspective. Or it might be really stupid, but it's probably cool. Nope. I don't get involved with that. I think we should discuss everything openly and then vote, not play games behind each other's backs. No, I never did. I would have loved to. I don't know. It all looks pretty abandoned to me. But maybe it is all a test. I don't know. Sometimes I'd like to believe that everything happens for a reason, that there's some external force that gives us purpose and meaning. But then I think about all the horrible things that happen to people, and I can't accept that those things were meant to happen, that they couldn't have been avoided. So in that sense, I agree. We should find our own meaning. But to be completely honest, I find it hard to just impose meaning on the world. I'm not as driven as someone like Byron. I feel more moved by Miranda's recordings than by my own ideas. I like that. Some of us lead, some of us follow, but we all do it together. I'm not sure, to be honest. This is all so surreal. Walking around here is so peaceful, but it's also, I don't know. One moment I feel inspired, the next, kind of creeped out.
Hey there, 1K. Look, self-reflection is important, but only thinking about yourself, your inner identity, becomes narcissistic. You exist, whether you like it or not, in a dialectical relationship with the world. Identity has no meaning without society, and society has no meaning without the individual. It's in that tension that we really come into being. Then at least we may be able to find out what happened in New Jerusalem, why she came here. But I don't think she left the island. I think she's still here, waiting for us to make the right choices. It's hard to articulate. There just seems to be so much intent here. There has to be a reason for all this. And Athena is the only reason that makes sense. I think every single human being is completely unique, and every instance of consciousness is a miracle. The more of us there are, the more alive the universe is. And the more we all interact with each other, the more complex the life of the universe becomes. So I believe that people are a fundamental good. I don't believe we're all flawless, but I think every one of us matters. Precisely because nothing else does. Could be? Yes, of course. All technology has the potential to be misused, from fire and the wheel to whatever makes these particle clouds. But that doesn't mean it has to be. In the principle of it, no. It's not just that I believe humanity is fundamentally good, although I do. It's that I think sentience is the foundation of everything else. What's the point of stars and galaxies, of hills and forests, without someone to perceive them? But my faith that we can actually grow up, that we can break out of these loops and take control of our destiny, that's something I struggle with every single day. Because they refused to grow up. They refused to take control of their lives. They let bureaucrats and financiers determine their destiny, and those people could not think beyond themselves, beyond the tiny, insignificant moment they were trapped in. Their technology could have saved them, but what really failed them was their imagination. In the sense of an interventionist deity? No. I wouldn't rule out the possibility, but it's not something I personally believe. But I do think there is something genuinely sublime in this universe, and it's right in front of us. Consciousness. The fact that this sense of self is even possible, that an arrangement of matter can produce a self-aware mind? Think about it. It's a fundamental property of the universe, an unbreakable law that matter has the inherent capacity to become more than the sum of its parts. That is the definition of transcendence.
can't imagine spending years in such a desolate place. For what? Science? Enlightenment? I'd much rather be back home in New Jerusalem.
I think it's beautiful in its own way. But I don't understand how our ancestors could survive here. They were so fragile. Imagine getting stuck out here in the cold. I wonder if there are wolves.
It's kind of a miracle biological humans lasted as long as they did.
Is it possible that on some level, people want to believe that everything's going to get worse? That it's comforting to think that humanity is bad and every solution will just go wrong? Because that way you're never responsible. You never have to take on responsibility for anything outside yourself. Never have to grow up.